Tęsime asmeninį finansų konferenciją Mano Investicija ir sveikinuosi su Izraelio startuolių ekosistemos kūrėju ir investuotoju Tal Catran. Hello, Tal.
Labas, Thomas. Great seeing you again, and I'm very glad to be here.
Likewise. Tal, at our conference, we have spoken a lot about managing personal finances. As someone with a background in both entrepreneurship and the military, what financial lessons have you learned that you believe are crucial for individuals looking to manage their personal finances effectively?
Thank you for the question, Thomas. It's interesting that you would mention my background. I'm trying to kind of get an anchor where to start on this. My first advice is keep your money close to you. That's definitely a one. And when you trust someone to run it, I would say keep involved. That's kind of the general. Then, if we try to see specifics regarding tech. So first of all is you need to decide for yourself what kind of an investor are you? Are you gonna co-invest with others? Do you feel more comfortable doing that? Do you want to lead an investment? And how much are you willing to invest? Or how much can you invest? I always say to startups, or let's say to those who raise money from people, listen, you don't raise, let's say, 200,000 of anything from someone who has a 500,000. That's really bad. This person probably will not leave you, and in a way even damage the development of the company itself and all the different processes. So you need to align the amount of money that you're willing to invest maybe with the risk that you are willing to take. And again, when we go to startups, we know that the risk factor is substantial, not just because of the fact that 96% of startups end up shutting down, closing shop in the first year of operation. Is the fact that startups are, first of all, people, and when you invest in people, you don't know where this can go, especially when you invest in young people, especially when you're investing in people that have so many challenges to overcome with your money. And I'm saying this on the other side, if I may, to the startups. You are raising money too early. I would say generally people tend to raise money too early. Too early means before they even validated what are they doing, problem and solution. And I will say same to those who hold the money. We expect those who hold the money to be more responsible, more conscious, and they're the one holding something tangible, meaning your money is tangible. Startups, they have ideas. They have a lot of intentions. When you want to invest in something, see that your tangible money goes to someone, not something, not entirely, but at least most of it tangible. So you will be holding an asset.
Tal, as a mentor to CEOs, VCs, business angels, and startuppers, what advice do you find yourself consistently giving regarding investment decisions? What do you advise for those startups who have received early funding or funding in later stages? How should they manage their money?
Again, very interesting. If I know something about startups, is that they are, in most cases, great on the side of technology, creativity, but they are kind of less good when it comes to management and when it comes to finance, to business. That's not usually their stronghold. Of course, those who do it for the second time and third time, they are more experienced, okay? So they know what they're doing. So what I find is that startups, first of all, must upgrade their financial skills. Number two, it's sometimes funny to see startups that actually close the round. They're shocked. It's like, it was not like, do you really want to give me the money? And all of a sudden, they forget what they want to do with the money. And when they don't know how to manage money, this is when the investor finds himself doing something he never meant to. And that comes now to the side of the investors. Think for yourself. Do you want to be an investor that gives money and gets a report every month, let's say, what's going on? Or you want to be hands-on? Do you want to be part of the startup? It's very, very important because in most cases that I see, the investors do not want to work in the startup. They want to give the money and they expect, a return on the money. but they find themselves very quickly very much immersed into the startup. Why? Because then they find out that they gave money to people that don't know really how to manage it, how to divide it, what to give to what. Sometimes startups, because they have been starving for so long, they are thirsty, they go wild with the money. While this is exactly the point that they need to be even more. As you know, bootstrap is without the money. Bootstrap, take the money from the investor, but know how to manage it. Remain humble. Look at every dollar, every euro where you spend it. This is also what the investors would like to see, that you know to value. You know to value the money, and you will know how to manage it. Again, for this, we have also mentors that can assist. It doesn't mean that you need to drag your investors in. My advice would be, do not do that. And I say, for the side of the investors, simulate, sit with the startup just before investing and make sure it is clear to them and you how this money is going to be distributed.
Okay, so you have actually answered to my next questions, but I still wanted to dig deeper a bit into investor side. So we have spoken about startups. You yourself have been involved in startups accelerations programs globally, and from a personal financial perspective, how should individuals assess the potential risks and rewards that they can get when considering investment opportunities in startups? So speaking from the investor side.
It's a very good point, because this is kind of the €1 million question, or maybe this is the basic or that investors should look into. It really depends on the investor individually. I mean, is he or she afraid of taking risks? They want to have it more, more safe, okay, more certain. Then of course they should join in a later stage. In a later stage, most probably their money will be worth less. They will get less equity because the startup is already mature. But on the other side, I say, how about you have little of something than a lot of nothing? So I say to investors, number one, preferably co-invest, meaning share the responsibility with other investors that know maybe sometimes better than you how to invest in a startup. Number two, get advice. If you are not into AI, because you are a person that maybe is interested in technology and the startup looks very nice, by the way, their startups are magicians when it comes to persuading you that their dream is going to happen. And yes, sometimes or many times it happens that the investor believes and then finds himself in far away from what someone sold him. So for the startups, we say, we want to see your skin in the game, meaning it is okay for investors, for instance, to tell to a startup, how about you take a little loan from somewhere? So at least you will have the responsibility of returning it. It's going to make you more safe. It's not usually done. It needs time. You do not invest over 4 days of meeting a startup. You build a relationship, you do a due diligence. You do a due diligence, yes, to learn the technology, to learn the market, to, in a way, frame the risk in what you know and understand. Have financial people next to you, okay? Get assistance. For some reason, it seems that because the startups are young, they need mentors. Well, investors also need mentors. And let me tell you that in Israel, now we have an academic course for startup investors. We teach how to invest. You are not born an investor, same as you're not born a doctor or a lawyer. You need to learn. So my advice to investors, go learn. Same as you would tell the startups that you're going to invest in, go learn. So learn.
It's great that you have mentioned AI, but because I wanted to ask, in the age of AI, and we speak about it a lot right now, so how should individuals adapt their personal financial strategies? Should one invest in companies that develop new technologies as AI, in your personal opinion?
Okay, so when we talk about a trendish technology, meaning we know AI now is in a hype, and everyone kind of try to develop something. What does it mean? It means that there is a lot of need for solutions involving AI, meaning the market in a way has just grown tremendously if you have AI. Okay, let's say that if you have crypto, I would say the market is smaller, almost you would say a niche. So of course, if you're an investor, where do you want to invest? Either you are very knowledgeable about crypto and you don't mind it being a niche, or you say, hey, I'm not that much of an expert, then go, for the bigger market. And AI definitely is there. Now, still within the AI, it has specifics, we know. Okay. So again, it's about the learning and the doing. Definitely co-invest, share the risk. And I'm saying this as I know investors with hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank, still they will co-invest. That's the best lesson if I learned, is to get next to me people more knowledgeable, more experienced on my side as an investor. Okay, then I feel in a way that we have kind of framed better the risk and we grow the success rate. There's a better chance of succeeding.
That's very interesting thought. Maybe you could elaborate how many co-investors should one have, or you should just find a co-investor who has skills and knowledge in the market.
Okay, so I will answer like this. First of all, in the end, investor is a person, and this person have things that he likes and things that he doesn't like. I mean, same as he has people that he's more connected to. Now, in the end, when you look at the sphere or the group, the pool of investors in every country, usually they know one another. By the way, usually they also have their own angel network, so they know one another. What is interesting or maybe not surprising to see is that sometimes their investors are saying, sorry, I will not invest with him. Why? I have bad experience. So comes the startup and say, hey, but he's willing to invest. And then the other says, hey, great, take his money, I'm not in. So you learn that even in this case, startups need to learn. They cannot guess this, but they need to learn that they need to have a lead investor, preferably someone likable, nice, someone that you see had invested or co-invested with many others. So you're kind of more, and ask, by the way, if you will ask startups about it or you will discuss it with investors after they will hear what we're discussing here, I think their point of view will change a little bit. Some of them will say, you know what, that's smart. We didn't think about it this way. So I like the fact that we have this conversation open, also to open the mind, to give people some, advice, very practical ones that, it's not a rocket science, but still it's a perspective that maybe some people don't see. So I'm very glad, really, Thomas, for you to bring such questions. And I'm telling you, someone who is doing this interviews a lot, you have, I told you this, a different perspective, a different flavor, a different kind, a type of questions that you ask and how you ask. So I want to give you a compliment.
Thank you, Tal, and I thank you for such great answers. And actually, you yourself are from Israel, and Israel is very well known globally for its entrepreneurial spirit. How do you see individuals in Israel approach and manage their personal finances? And are there any lessons that can be applied for Lithuania as well? What can we learn from Israel?
I think, okay, main difference, Israel is a very hot, very warm country most of the year. Lithuania, or as I call it, Lithuania, has rain in its name. So it's kind of a more coldish and grayish place. Well, you will find that good temperature has an effect on people. And generally, Israel, since we have been doing startups from almost the beginning of our existence, okay, we are about startups. And I say about startups, so we are into innovation. We were very low in resources and we were not so much liked and helped during the years. So we learned to be self-reliant and self-sufficient. We started to invent what we need. But in a way, we also understand that we need to come together. You know how is it when a shark comes to a small group of fish? They come together and create this cloud. Same as birds do it for eagles, they become like a cloud. Same us as Israelis. We learned that coming together creates size. So between us, we do have this conversation between investors, not because we have investors network. By the way, we don't. We have investors. I think it's very interesting to learn. We don't have a network. By the way, you can find an Excel sheet on the internet called Israel Angel List. It's an open sheet on the internet that you can see who is who and what is what. But most of it goes from mouth to ear. We talk a lot. We share. You know, it's interesting to see, and I don't see it around the world, when a startup in Israel meets an investor, and for some reason they don't click, usually the startupper will join in some kind of a forum or a WhatsApp group and say, hi everyone, met so-and-so, didn't work for me, he's more interested into this, call him. It's sharing of the information. So I think this also creates strength. And again, when you are doing it as a group, when you can get the crowd's opinion, the crowd's experience, you are getting smarter. So what you see about us is that we have an abundance amount of money. We invest a lot. Little bit different, by the way, than American investors. American investors invest, first of all, in the team and later in the technology, meaning the team is number one. In Israel, different. In Israel, the technology is number one and the people are number two. You know why? Because we have an abundance of genius. A lot of good people. So and we are Israelis. We are kind of, you know, as I said, self-sufficient, resilient. So the investor says to himself, I will find a solution. Don't worry. But the technology is harder for me to find and to make. Okay? It's another interesting perspective about how things are different, let's say, in Israel, than you would see in Lithuania, as an example. Which, by the way, Lithuania has angel network. Okay, Litban. And what you should maybe, I don't know if you did an interview with anyone from Litban, but it would be interesting to listen to them, how they share, how they communicate, how much of the investors are going to Lithuanian startups, how much of the money is going outside for outsiders. Is the network open for outside technology and startups? Or Lithuanians, they like to invest only in Lithuanians. This again differs a lot between ecosystem. You will find in Israel, for instance, we like a lot to invest in Silicon Valley. From Techstars, from Y Combinator, okay? We invest because for us, it's about the genius. For us, it's about the technology before anything else. And if we need it, and it's good technology and solution, we will invest.
That's very, very interesting and unusual perspective, Tal. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, and thank you for sharing your very valuable insights. And thanks to our audience. We hope these discussions inspire and guide you in your own ventures and financial endeavors. Thank you, Tal.
Ačiū labai.
Mėly žiūrovai, kalbėjomės su Izraelio startuolio ekosistemos kūrėju ir investuotoju Tal Catran. Tai buvo tiek šiandieną, konferencija Mano Investicija baigėsi. Jeigu nespėjote pamatyti kažkurio mūsų pokalbio ar pranešimo, tikrai nesijaudinkite, visą konferencijos Mano Investicija turinį rasite Delfi Plus platformoje jau netrukus. O mes pasimatysime kitose mūsų konferencijose ir kitoje Mano Investicijoje kitąmet. Iki kitų kartų.